It happened while I was sick, curled up on the couch, shaken, nauseated, and unable to keep anything down for days. My body was breaking, and all I wanted, just once, was a little bit of care. A moment to feel like I wasn't alone in this family that's always made me feel optional. That's when my mom, who had been checking in on me every evening after work, offered to make soup. Simple, kind, thoughtful. She chopped onions in my tiny kitchen, humming, like everything was fine. I thought maybe, for just a second, things were normal, that she saw me, that I mattered. And then my sister called. 10 years ago, she had a miscarriage. A devastating moment, no doubt. The whole family mourned with her. But here's the part that stings. Every single time my mom gives me her attention, my sister remembers that pain. Not during holidays, not during her own life's milestones. No, only when the spotlight shifts, even slightly, in my direction. That day, like every other time, the phone rang, and Mom picked up. Her face changed, her eyes clouded. She looked at me with an apology already forming on her lips. "I'm sorry, honey," she said. "Your sister's upset about the miscarriage." She left halfway through the soup, and I stood there, stirring the pot alone, too sick to eat, too stunned to cry. I didn't say anything to Mom. I didn't argue. I didn't beg her to stay. But I did text my sister. I told her, maybe too directly, that she needed to stop bringing it up for attention, that I saw the pattern, that it wasn't grief, it was jealousy, that she couldn't stand me getting something she didn't. And that is when everything fell apart. The phone calls started, from my mom, from my sister's dad, from other family members I hadn't spoken to in months, all with the same script. How could I be so cruel, so insensitive, so selfish? But what no one wanted to talk about, what everyone kept ignoring, was everything that led up to that moment. Let me take you back. My sister is 8 years older than me. She's 30. I'm 22. We've never been close, not even a little. When I was born, she resented me immediately. Resented that I took my mom's attention. Resented that I was the child of a different father, one she believed stole our mother away from her family. I was the little reminder of everything she lost, and she made sure I knew it. Childhood with her was brutal. Not the kind of sibling teasing people look back on and laugh about. This was sustained, personal, mean. She was my biggest bully, and somehow, the adults always let her get away with it. She never really grew out of it either. That bitterness, it matured with her, sharpened. Now she disguises it behind emotional manipulation instead of name-calling. Because the one thing my sister cannot tolerate is being left out, especially when Mom and I are together. And the one thing that always brings Mom running back to her is the miscarriage. It's like clockwork. When I turned 21, I saved up and surprised my mom with a birthday trip to Paris. She'd always wanted to go. I booked the flights, the hotel, the restaurants. I planned it all. We had one full day of laughter. One. And then the call came. "She's having a hard day," Mom said. "She's feeling overwhelmed about the miscarriage." That was the excuse. And Mom left, flew home 2 days early, said she had to. Or how about the time I was hospitalized during a manic episode? I was in one of the worst mental health crises of my life. My doctors were trying to stabilize me, and Mom had promised to visit. But every time she planned to come, my sister would call, crying, needing Mom. And Mom would cancel, Not once during that hospitalization did my mother come to see me, because every time she tried, my sister needed her. About the miscarriage. So that day in my kitchen, when I was too weak to stand, when Mom abandoned me mid-soup, it wasn't just about broth. It was about years of being the afterthought. I didn't text my sister because I wanted to hurt her. I texted her because I was done being invisible. Of course, she didn't keep it between us. She showed the message to Mom, to her dad, probably to anyone who'd listen. And suddenly, I was the villain in the story, the heartless sibling who dared question a woman's grief. But here's the part no one wants to talk about. Yes, miscarriage is painful. It can leave a scar that never fully heals. But if you're still calling your mother 10 years later, with 3 healthy children in your arms, every time your sibling gets a moment of care, is that grief? Or is that control? I asked Mom's partner once, offhand, if my sister ever brings it up when I'm not around. He didn't hesitate. No, he said, only when it's about you. That's what no one in my family wants to face, because facing it would mean confronting the fact that my sister's not the only one who failed me. My mother, who I love dearly, has allowed this dynamic to flourish. She's enabled it. She's chosen over and over again to walk out on me. She says it's because my sister needs her. But what about when I needed her? When I was in the hospital? When I was sobbing alone on a hotel bed in Paris? When I was stirring soup while shaking from norovirus? Did I not need her then? Or did I just not matter enough? I've tried talking to her, tried to say how it feels to be abandoned again and again. But every time, I'm met with, let's not do this now, or your sister's been through a lot. So I'm asking you, was I wrong to call it out? To finally say the thing everyone else is afraid to say? So, am I the asshole? And now, a message from the Vault Keeper. This story isn't just about sibling rivalry. It's about emotional hierarchies. The quiet contracts families write. Who's allowed to hurt, who's allowed to heal, and who has to stay silent to keep the peace. The sister in this story experienced something tragic. But tragedy doesn't give you a blank check to hurt others. And grief shouldn't be weaponized against someone else's moment of need. At the same time, the real fracture here might not be between siblings. It might be in the middle, with the parent who couldn't set boundaries, who couldn't say, not now, my other child needs me too. When one person in a family becomes the permanent emergency, others stop asking for help. And then they grow up learning that their pain must be quiet, that their love must be earned, that their worth is negotiable. If you saw yourself in this story, on either side, take a breath. Ask yourself, who in your life gets to need things? Who gets attention? And who gets leftovers? And when was the last time you truly asked someone how they were, without assuming you already knew the answer? This has been ATA Story Vault. If this story stirred something in you, share your thoughts in the comments. And remember, sometimes the hardest stories to tell are the ones we've been living for years. We just didn't have the words until now.